brothers. Shout out to the Fung brothers. Well, one of the Fung brothers. So let me turn that off. I don't want to get copyrighted by those guys. um, so I'm here early because I've been doing my live streams late and not getting a lot of feedback. Sometimes I was doing it purposely so I wouldn't get a lot of feedback, but then when I did want feedback, didn't get any, so wasn't the best of plans. not not a great plan, right? Yeah. So this is Ask Me Anything Fridays. I'm back with it, and that includes relationship advice. So ask me anything, and when I say anything, that's always with an asterisk. What is the asterisk? So the asterisk is my unwritten footnote, which is ask me anything that is appropriate and family friendly. So you can ask me anything that's appropriate and family friendly. And again, that includes relationship advice. Um, but be forewarned, my relationship advice will be red pill. So if you come in for that sort of relationship advice that you get from these little fugazi dating coaches, that's not going to happen. I'm going to give you like red pill advice. And that's whether you're a guy or a girl, you're going to get red pill advice. The good thing about red pill advice is it's pretty honest. It's not just stuff you want to hear. Stuff you want to hear may make you feel great hearing it, but it doesn't do anything tangible to help your situation if you were to act upon it. So, not assuming not assuming people even act upon the advice they ask people in these live streams all the time, or in their comment section when they ask people for all sorts of questions and advice on many sorts of matters, whether relationship, fitness, personal, whatever. I'm guessing at best 50% of people ever act upon that advice they're given. But assuming again that they do, you will want it to be tangible advice, right? I mean, something that actually would work and be effective. So, um, don't see anyone in the chat yet. So again, for people coming into the chat, for people just coming into the chat, this is Ask Me Anything Friday, which I'm definitely looking forward to any sort of relationship advice people might be asking, and it will be through a red pill lens. Like I'm going to give you like brutal advice. Mateo says hi. Divon says hi. Um, so, oh, I was gonna say. So yeah, so this is relationship advice. Ask me anything Fridays. I don't know why people could asking what am I talking about. Literally, when you click on my live stream, it tells you the title of my live stream and what the subject is. Um, hopefully, are you here? Are you here, Moonlit? If so, can you do a quick scan of if a certain of these folks is that special stalker who has mental health issues? So I'm pretty sure some of these might be here. Actually, let me go ahead and get my reading glasses so I can look at these myself. Check out people's channel activity, see if they are nuts. Mm. Now I realize some people are just from overseas. So sometimes when people from overseas come off as being trolls when they don't mean to be. So I want to be fair with that because unintentionally, some people from overseas come off as trolls because they aren't acquainted with social etiquette here. Um, but yeah, so this is Ask Me Anything Fridays, guys, including relationship advice, something that I rarely do. I rarely do relationship advice. So decided to give uh, go ahead and do that. I've only done it, I think, once before on a live. So we're doing that again. Uh, so just checking some people's channel activity because I know I get there's this one guy who think he's slick using a VPN. He doesn't realize my moderator will put out all his business if he keeps trying to do that. He's already warned them before. And again, this wouldn't be just to anyone. This is just for a particular stalker because he has emotional problems and he doesn't realize he has emotional problems. But in any case, so again, this is Ask Me Anything Fridays for people asking, what is this about? And have at it. Is when I have Ask Me Anything Day is the only day people can ask me random questions without it being in the form of a super chat. So I only do this maybe once a week. And I started doing it less than once a week because I now prefer to have focused topics. Um, but if someone has a question, just ask it. Don't say, "Hey, I have a question." Just ask the question. And and of course, if this is a bust, then I'll just go on about my business because I got other things to do. So it's all good. But I do have on my reading glasses so I can look at these comments without straining my eyes, and I can look at people's avatars to see if it's a particular reoccurring troll. So I'll give it a second, and while I'm doing that, I may put on some. Our young Asian American. I might put on some music. Um, hmm, let me change this filter. Mm, mm, mm. So changed my chat filter. So chat room, I'm gonna get all the basically all the comments and replies on here, and then if I have to, I can do some moderation. Mm, so yeah, sorry guys, I was looking at my community moderation. So yeah, so if folks want to ask me questions, go ahead, ask me questions. Um, while that's being done, I will mention you guys can check out my previous streams if you like. Um, I did one last night, didn't go well because it was too late. Where I said people can ask me questions about McDojos and Bushido, because last week I had, made some live streams talking about why a lot of the history of martial arts is actually a lie, and also I went on to do a sequel to that live stream where in the following live stream I talked about how you can spot a McDojo. So last night I was like, well, because of those, maybe people had questions, so go ahead and people could talk to me about either their experiences in McDojos or ask me a question about about what is a McDojo, what certain styles could be considered Bushido. But I held that late at night, so not a lot of interaction. So what I'll do with that is I'm going to I'm gonna I'm gonna touch back on that issue at another time. Of course, since this is Ask Me Anything Day, people can ask me those martial arts questions as well today if they looked upon that video last night, the a replay of my live stream from last night, and wanted to ask those questions still. So I still will be fielding those questions from last night on McDojos or Bushido, stuff like that. But today being Ask Me Anything, it doesn't have to be about martial arts, and it uh, can be about relationship stuff or whatever. So it's all good to me. Pause. I want to play some. Well, I can't play any lyrical music because it'll get copyrighted. I wanted to play something with some lyrics, but I can't do that. So I'll have to play like some sort of lo-fi or non-lyrical music, but I also have to play it in the sort of like in the background and not too loudly because it will even the AI generated music gets copyrighted because apparently you can AI generate music that's made by someone else without their permission, and yet still copyright that for other people not to use, which is absurd because I'm pretty sure the AI generated music that they are sampling, they didn't ask permission. Pretty sure they didn't. So that's but yeah. I played anime music last time, but I don't want to do anime music again. But what do you guys say? Any questions for me? Like I said, this is Ask Me Anything Friday. So the same people who don't ask me any questions when I do Ask Me Anything Day, Ask Me Anything Friday, or whatever Ask Me Anything Day I choose to use, I choose to do this on, whether it's a Friday or another day. These same people will be returning in my other live streams asking me completely irrelevant questions when I actually have a topic for that day. I'm talking about uh, something dealing with whatever is the topic of the day in politics or whatever, and they'll ask me something random and stupid like, "What should I do about work?" I'm like, I don't know, like drop a super chat. It's like, but when I do Ask Me Anything days like this, they don't pop up for this time where you can ask me free questions without having to happen to drop a super chat. Because any other day, I'm gonna say you're gonna have to drop a super chat because I'm just gonna ignore it. But we're here on a Friday. I understand. Some people do have lives. I have a life, but I just don't feel like spending money unnecessarily on a Friday. They could be going to a plane ticket. I'm all about my plane flight, my plane flight. So um, do I want to play this Lord of the Rings music? Kind of do. Mm, um, yeah, I got the chat filter on all messages, so I can show every message, including spam. Because sometimes some good messages get tweaked out when you have the filter on only top messages. But of course, it makes sense when you're a higher level content creator. You got literally hundreds of stuff coming through. You have to filter it. But I'm not on that level yet. I'm only at 2,000 subs. So when I'm at 100,000 and I'm live streaming, then yeah, that's when you'll have to do the chat filter and put it on just top messages or maybe even fan funding. So I'm not at that level yet. Not the big dog. I'm eating, but I'm not the big dog. So and again, like I said, ask me anything day comes with a little asterisk that points to a footnote that says only appropriate and family friendly questions. So I think that should go without saying, but it has to be said, unfortunately, because some people don't get that. What's up, Agatha? I haven't seen you in a while. So this I haven't done this in a while, Agatha. I'm doing the Ask Me Anything Fridays. I haven't probably done this in like several weeks. But so far, no questions. It's funny, Agatha. Like I only people will ask me random questions when I actually have a topic, and then when I give them Ask Me Anything Day, so I can let them so they can ask me questions for free without me, saying put it in a super chat. Then they don't answer. They don't ask it, and they get frustrated about other days when I actually have like a focused topic, and they'll be like, "Well, why I gotta such and such," or they'll just leave. Yeah, like, well, yeah, but today is early. That's why I'm on early so that I can field questions. When it's late, I don't really want to field questions. That's why I'll have a specific topic at night. I don't do the ask me anything late at night, um, unless it's like on a weekend. I mean, this is the start of the weekend, but I just wanted to start it, or do it earlier. Oh, you said your job. So yeah, you couldn't be in the stream because it was probably too late for you to be up. I get it. Your job is up in the air. Wait, you're a federal employee? Because I assumed you were in the private sector. Like like I know you work with the government, but I thought like your job was sort of like contracted with the government. I didn't think you worked for the federal government. Same thing. One of my friends can't mention. Don't want to put too much of his personal information out there, but he works for the Office of Inspector General, and he said he doesn't know what's going on with his job either. So because I think he thought I had worked for the government at one point. I was like, nah, I've never, except for being part of the military, which is part of the federal government. I've never worked like as a I have never worked as a civilian federal employee, so I don't know what that's like. I had once deigned to do so, but now, um, if I worked for the federal government, I would still prefer to be somewhere involved in military or the defense department somewhere where I can actually, you know, do violence. I don't want to work for the federal government where I can't do violence upon people. Oh, no, 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 you don't have to talk about what your situation. I was just saying I didn't know you worked for the federal government. I thought this stuff that you used to always tell me was like I said, I thought you worked in the private sector. I didn't know you worked in the government spaces. Um, but I mean, because you tell us a lot of stuff, and I'm like, eh, like the whole thing in England and all that sort. Oh, by the way, in England, tell me, did the food suck or not? Can you tell? You should be able to. I'm pretty sure that's something you can freely talk about. Did the food suck there? Like, I'm sorry, I don't like. I'm not trying to be mean to all my British viewers or whatever, but I'm just under the assumption that your food sucks. The British food sucks. Like their breakfast, like I don't want fucking beans. I'm sorry, excuse my language. I'm trying not to cuss. I wouldn't want beans for breakfast. I don't know what black pudding is, but I'm definitely not eating that. What else? And they put beans on toast. What the heck? Like what is this? The Great Depression? Beans on toast? Um, again, don't know what black pudding is. Um, yeah, the Brit the yeah, the fish and chips is the only like literally like the only thing I think would be tasty there. And let's be honest, fish and chips is just that's that's just Long John Silver's. That's just fried. That's just Gordon's fish sticks with some French fries. He said it wasn't that great because they don't season their stuff over there. They would probably have a conniption if you broke out some Lowry seasoned salt. you should you should you should have took some Old Bay seasoning with you. They be like, what is that? Let them take, let them get a little bit of Lowry seasoned salt. They start, you're gonna end up with a British boyfriend. Like that's probably what what's her name did with Prince. What was it, Henry? I forget which Prince Henry, I guess. She must have fried him some chicken with some collard greens. No, I think she's part Jamaican, so she may give him like some curry. She may have give some curry chicken and some beans and rice, and he ended up marrying her, even though no one can stand either one of them, especially her. I think people hate her more than they hate Prince Henry. Like she's so fake. Mm. But anyway, yeah, British food looks disgusting. Their breakfast looks boring, and I mean, if I'm just waking up early in the morning, you offer me some beans, I'm gonna slap you. Like not you, not you, but I'm just saying like yeah, I'm not waking up in the morning to eat some beans on toast. Like best give me some coffee because I will slap someone offering me some baked beans for breakfast. Like no. Says it's true. I see a lot of my coworkers had hot sauce with them. See, I would have I would have brought some Lowry season salt. Well, I mean there's a Caribbean community in England, so I would have found whatever wherever that little Caribbean Jamaican community is and went straight down there to get some food and told them, hey, let me get some jerk seasoning off you. They gave me some, all of that. Like I would have just kept eating in the little uh, Jamaican part of England until I left. Because again, British food sucks. Either that or I would have went to McDonald's. But and no, and to be fair, I would have probably tried out a pub just to see how it was. I mean, I don't drink, but I would have tried some fish and chips. But I'm pretty sure it's pretty bland because British people don't season their food. You give them like a tablespoon of salt, and they're gonna say it's too spicy. Like they're the ones really vanilla type folks, and I'm not talking about just all white people because most of y'all are cool, especially American American white people are probably used to seasoning of some level, especially if they're from the South. But the really vanilla folks, the waspy people and folks in like England or whatever, um, I'm pretty sure they're the ones that they made the warnings for when you go to like the buffalo wing places and you have to sign a release form to eat the hot stuff. Like here in Maryland, there was a place called Cluck You Chicken, and it's closed everywhere. It sucks though because they were great, and they had these 911 wings that you had to sign a release form. And my Indian friend, he was like, "Man, those aren't even all that hot." He said, "I tried them," but of course, you gotta realize my friend is East Indian, and he could eat incredibly hot food. Um, so I've eaten them at Hooters. Their equivalent. I don't know if they were as hot as the ones at Cluck You Chicken, but they didn't make you sign a release form at Hooters. They just said, you sure you can handle these? And, I told the waitress like, yeah, I can eat these. I think she I think she admired that, like, because back then when Hooters actually had like attractive women before they got that lawsuit, so they had to start hiring ugly women. And lo and behold, Hooters is going bankrupt now because they started hiring ugly women. Hmm, who would have thought that going to a restaurant that advertises pretty women with big knockers would would not do so well if you hired mediocre looking women who don't have big hooters. But anyway, I went there with my cousin, and he bought like the more milder ones, and she was like, "Well, he can eat them." Like, damn right, they ain't the only thing I can eat. But anyway, but yeah, so I'm pretty sure those release forms at some of those restaurants are made for those vanilla waspy people like that who never season their food. Potatoes taste like the day they were dug out the earth. Agnes says, "What do you think about the meeting at the White House today?" Okay, thank you. My first question. Well, someone said they had a relationship question for me earlier, and then they never voiced it. So if you're still here, whoever that person is, Alan, if you're still here, you could ask the question, guys. You don't have to say I have a question. Just ask me the question. That's what we're here for. But let me ask. So Agatha, I thought the meeting at the White House today was hilarious because they showed the whole thing on video. So I was laughing, like, and people were making so people were making a big deal of it, and I'm like, guys, you realize this is how these folks talk in the back all the time. It's just that we're finally privy to these meetings. Like, if you think that most of these meetings go swimmingly every time between political leaders, like, you're quite naive. They talk tough like this all the time with each other. And to be honest, even if you weren't a Trump supporter, I you would still have to I would still have to give him the upper hand on this because he was right when Zelensky was saying, "Well, wait." He said, "Well, see, you guys are safe because you're separated by ocean, but wait till they start coming for you." And that's when Trump was like, no, hold up. They're not coming for us, first of all. We have the biggest military in the world. I mean, we give our government $5 trillion a year. We think half of that goes to the to the Defense Department. Shit. No. Look, and another. So I understand Trump snapping at him for that, and JD Vance got at him for that too. Uh, then like Trump was also made another good point. He was like, you're willing to risk World War III because you don't want to do a ceasefire. And he is like, meanwhile, he said it was only through the the military aid that we sent you, not to mention over, $350 billion, that you've been able to war this long against Russia. He was like, frankly, if we never sent you anything, the war would have been over in 2 weeks. And he's absolutely right. Like, this is why. So I don't think you know this, Agatha, but my very first video I ever made on this channel was basically to say, uh, "Fuck the Ukraine." Someone, and I even had a Ukrainian on my live stream said, "Man," he said, "I don't agree with you, but I understand." Like, because I explained why. It was like I wasn't saying, you know, F the Ukrainian people. I was like basically saying F the Ukrainian government for pulling us into a proxy war with a country that has the most nuclear warheads in the world, us outside of us, and basically plan things so that, you know if things get bad, it'll pull us into a war that we don't want to have. But the previous administration was willing to gamble that, and Trump was not willing to do that. Thank goodness. I mean, I think we could have done a lot with $300 billion here. Just saying. Not to mention, I mean, it's, the more we found out, the more we realized that Ukraine wasn't completely innocent in this invasion by Russia. Like, so in any case, the meeting, I think, wasn't bad. If he supposedly he threw Zelensky out of the White House, I think that's being overblown. I think what happens is just it went sour. But apparently, I think they struck a mineral deal. Like, we're gonna get like what, around $500 billion worth of cobalt or something like that out of this mineral deal he struck with Zelensky on this deal. It's basically their way of paying us back for all that billions of dollars we sent them, including that money that Biden snuck into into a deal right before he left. Like, man. But yeah, that's what I think about the meeting. I think it was. I don't. I think people are blowing it out of proportion. I think this is how most of these meetings go all the time behind the scenes. It's just that we're being privy to one in its entirety, but usually the niceties and all that sort of stuff are just for the cameras. But behind, behind the cameras, things can be a bit heated, and I think we're just finally seeing that. I think amongst previous presidential administrations and stuff like that, there's been a lot of, tough talk. Look at the look at the Cuban Missile Crisis with John F. Kennedy. Like, we nearly went to World War III at that time with the Soviet Union. At the time, their uh, their leader Khrushchev, I believe, actually called up JFK and said, "Look, we don't really want to attack you guys, so we're willing to back down if you guys back down." And JFK was basically like, "Yeah, we agree. We don't want to go to war either. We don't want to strike either. But can you make it so that we made it look like we talked you down?" And look, it's that's the sign of a good leader that Khrushchev was just like, "All right, we'll let you take the reins, and say that you basically made us back down." That really wasn't the case. Khrushchev, being the bigger man, actually reached out to Kennedy allegedly and said, "We don't want to attack you guys. Let's call this off. You back down, we back down." But JFK wanted to show that he had the bigger balls and said, "Okay, we'll do that as long as you let us say that we made you call us off." So again, this these sorts of meetings happen more often than not. So anyway, I hope that answered the question. Sorry if that took too long. But anyone else have any questions? So I got my little Gondor music in the background for Lord of the Rings. Gondor music and ambience, some AI generated music. Alex says, do you think the way they're firing workers is okay? Yes and no. So my thing is, I think people and I'm not trying to poke at anyone in the government, but there is, I think you have to admit that there is a certain, how do I put this? There's a perception by many people that people in the federal government are largely lazy and incompetent, and that the bureaucracy is bloated, and then basically a bunch of these people can do whatever they want because they have once they get into the federal government that they can't be fired. So a lot of people are not really that feeling that empathetic towards people they feel like had it easy because a lot of us in the private sector are expected to produce all the time. Like I said, like I was telling a friend the other day, I was like, I had way more pressure working a job where I was only making like 32,000 a year at one point many years ago, where so I'm not really I said so I'm not gonna really feel bad for someone making, you know, about somewhere between 96,000 to 120,000, 125,000 a year, comp- complaining that he receiving emails asking him what are five things that he's done in that office. It should be a no brainer because I could definitely tell you what I did at my office, making only 32,000 a year. What's five? They'd be like, "What's five things you did today?" I made five leads today. Good answer. Good answer. Next. I remember working at this one boiler room off like one of the offices I worked. It was a boiler room type operation. So if you don't know what boiler room is, go watch the movie Boiler Room. It's a really good movie, loosely based off a true story. But anyway, so the call center I'm at, this boiler room operation, I'm the last one to leave the office in downtown Baltimore, and the owner actually comes to the office because the office also has like his own personal space in there too. So he comes in and out whenever he wants. And he's like, he said, "What are you still doing here?" I was like, "Oh, I just sent the lead." He's like, "Oh, that's a good answer. That's a good answer." So I I'm expected to produce, so I'm not going to feel sympathetic to people in the federal government. They can't simply answer what are the five things they've done and that they've contributed. On top of that, Elon already admitted on X, formerly Twitter, that one of the other one of the other reasons for asking people what are they actually doing, tell us five things that you've done, is because it's also a way for um, uh, some of the underlings in this office to shine, because often it is the case that there are a bunch of brilliant people who are overshadowed by a bunch of mediocre middle managers. I mean, I don't. If anyone who's ever read Dilbert knows what I'm talking about, or worked in these sorts of office, not to mention the movie itself, Office Space. Like, the, you know, you might be an engineer while you're being managed by some guy with a degree in fuckery management, degree in fuckery analytics and management or something. You know, so you're the actual talent in the office. You and your other folks. What's up, Just a Dude? Um, but yeah, you might be the actual, like, you and your other coworkers may be the actual people producing in the office. The managers don't do shit. So one of the things Musk is sneakily doing is giving these people a way to shine. Say, what's five things you've done in this office, and these this team of coworkers can be like, look, we just solved this problem. we just saved this agency X amount of money. I myself just did such and such. Um, like depending on the agency and the department, it should be a no brainer. Now, I agree when it comes to certain sensitive information that that might not be a great idea. Like if you work in uh, national intelligence or in federal law enforcement, I don't know if it's the best idea to send that information via email to people at Doge. And let's be honest, some of those people at Doge seem rather artistic. Not including Elon, which we whom we know is actually autistic, but yeah, some of those kids there, I don't know. Uh, is that how I say your name? Is it Zytron? He says, "Oh, I remember watching you stay subscribed ever since. It's been like 5 months. What's up, brother? Appreciate you still being here." So, for people coming in, again, this is my Ask Me Anything Day chat room. So, you guys in the chat, ask me anything. And of course, when I say ask me anything, that comes with a small little asterisk that says ask me anything as long as it's appropriate and family friendly, of course. And today I'm fielding relationship advice questions because usually I do go out of my way to avoid that because I'm not a dating coach and have no interest in portraying myself as a relationship and dating coach or a marriage and family counselor. However, I'm willing to give some red pill advice to folks who need it. So that doesn't happen. I'm gonna go eat something. Well, that's not a pause. Is that a pause? I don't think that's a pause. So, Cytron says, random question: have you ever played GTA 5, and would you? I haven't played it. I'm not a gamer. Would I? If I'm over a friend's house and they're playing it, and they ask me, do I want to play with them? Yeah, but I haven't. I literally haven't been a gamer since a teenager. Like my last, you're gonna laugh. My last gaming console I had was the classic Nintendo, and I stopped playing that around like 1992 because I didn't feel like upgrading to Super Nintendo, which had came out in like I think 91. Um, so I just never felt like upgrading. But however, my friends had other gaming consoles, and I would play with them. Like I had one friend, he had, you know, I think he had all of them, or he had the stuff that people didn't really buy as much. He had the, and most of you won't even remember this, but he had the TurboGrafx 16 with Bonk's Adventure. He had Neo Geo. He had those two. Then my other friends had Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, and then on to Nintendo 64. Um, then I remember when PlayStation first came out, and one of my closest friends, um, I actually went with him to buy it. He took all his older games to so that he could use those to trade them in for for a discount on his PlayStation when he first bought it at GameStop. So and then from then on, like I still play games, but usually if I was playing at someone else's house or I went to the arcades, and I did play GTA. I think the first one when it was on the PC. I played the PC version of the first GTA, and I played the second one, Vice City. That one was just fun. It was like it was just so much Scarface without it actually saying Scarface. So I played it, but I never played GTA 5. I think I played 3, or I was with someone who was playing 3. He said, dang man, games are a good time pass. You should try them out. To me, it's a waste of time, though, to be honest. Like, I have way too many other things to do. Like, if I'm not trying to make content and I'm also working, I'm a, I'm a combat athlete, so I don't want to waste my time playing. Like, everyone I know that kind of play, let me how I put this nicely. Most of the black guys I know that spend most of their time playing video games aren't very productive people. Or if they are productive people, they're not very healthy looking. Like most of them are overweight because they probably stay up all night playing video games. and so they don't exercise. And if they do exercise, it's just like lifting weights or something. Lifting weights doesn't make you physically fit on its own. Spoiler alert. um, and like don't and plus I like reading. Like if I'm gonna do something nerdy, I would prefer like I have tons of books to read. Like you can't see in my bedroom, but I have boxes full of textbooks I haven't read yet or other nerdy stuff. Or I'll just veg out and watch a lot of stuff on TV, like particularly like anime or I got a ton of anime I haven't watched yet. So I have way and I'm married, so like so but between so outside of working out, I rather spend time with the wifey. Like I actually like enjoy spending time with her. So I prefer that over video games. Now, if Nintendo, the closest I came back to becoming a gamer was when the Nintendo Wii U came out, the second version of the Wii. I was actually contemplating buying that. That was like the only gaming system I came close to buying in recent years. That and the Nintendo DS X, I think it was called the not the regular DS, but the DSX or whatever it was called, something like that. But I am so what I'm actually going to do. I'm about to buy the classic uh, Nintendo Mini, which has all the preloaded classic games on it. I'm going to buy that. I don't know if that really counts though. He said, "Oh wait, since you have played old games, do you know about Cadillacs and dinosaurs?" Wait, what? Is that a game, or are you just trying to be funny and say I've been around since Cadillacs and dinosaurs? Which, if so, that's a good burn. That is that's a good burn if that's what you mean. But if that's a game, I've never heard of it. But if that's a burn, that's funny. GTA 3 was the first 3D game out of the whole franchise. It was. You talking about um, the one when it was like in LA, right? I think that was called was that wasn't Liberty City. Liberty City was GTA 4, right? GTA 3 was San Andreas, I guess, right? Because I think GTA 3 was so you had GTA, then you had GTA Vice City, then GTA 3, which I think was San Andreas, and then GTA 4, which was Liberty City. I'm guessing. I might have got those mixed up, but I don't I don't remember it being in 3D. But when I whoever was playing it or whenever I watched it, because I don't think I played it myself, I don't remember it looking 3D. But I don't remember. He said like he said and like technically GTA Vice City was GTA 4, but they just refer to it as a sequel. See, that's why I get confused. Then another thing I like about gaming is like how now like you can't just have everything bundled up on a freaking cartridge. I know that sounds old school, but I just want everything on a cartridge and I just stick it in the game console and play it. But now you got like download stuff and all this sort of stuff like that. I think what my friend said you can get everything like on the like in a physical game cartridge still, but he was saying it's just cheaper for people to download the updates and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to do all that. That just seems like way too much work, and there's no reward to it. Cytron says only books I've read were The Diary of the Wimpy Kid and World War Z is goofy. I didn't even know World War Z was a book originally. I watched the movie like 2 years ago because I told myself 12 years ago I was going to watch it, and I didn't get around to watching until like two. No, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. I watched World War Z. It was all right. It's pretty mediocre for a zombie movie. He's oh, it is a game. Okay, Cadillacs and dinosaurs. That's no, because I was about to say, no, because I thought you would just try to roast me. I was like, oh, that's funny as shit. Cadillacs and dinosaurs. Because I remember one of my nephews. Uh, this was like this had to be like 6 years ago or something like that, 6 7 years ago. And one of my nephew's friends came over, and I think he asked me something about um cell phones or something like that, or internet. And I was like, yeah, we didn't have those in the 80s. He just looked at me so perplexed. He's like, man, how did you live? Like, it was so funny. Because I would explain to him, yeah, we actually did have cell phones back then, but they were only useful for actually calling people, which is what people don't even use cell phones for anymore. Like, no one calls people unless you're getting a spam call, and then you you look at the number and you hang up, or as a or as a family member. You know, probably the only two times you get calls. But um, and then and then I also didn't want to explain to him like, yeah, we had internet back then, but there was no World Wide Web. The World Wide Web didn't become commercially available until '94, but we did have internet in the '80s. For people who don't know, for you younger guys, it's just that the only things you could do with internet back in the '80s was either email, or they had or they had these these discussion boards, and which are still up nowadays as well. I forget what you call those online discussion boards, but that was pretty much the only thing you could do. And most people didn't have internet service back then, so it was rare that people used it outside of like government, um, business stuff. He said so like GTA 1 and 2 are often overlooked. So so now I'm confused. I don't know if it was one or two, but I remember whichever one I played, it was on a PC. And I remember my friend and I were just laughing because we weren't doing the mission at all. We were just going around beating up hookers and people on the game. Just, I remember we were just going around carjacking people and beating up hookers. It's like Charles says, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs was pretty popular. There was also another one called Metal Slug. I'm sure you've played them. I've never heard of Metal Slug. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs now does sound like it could be does sound like I may have heard of it before, but I've never heard of Metal Slug. Like I said, being that I stopped playing games around classic Nintendo, again, this is back in 91, 92, and from then on, I only played games when I was over friends' houses. Most of the stuff they played were like either like sports games or role playing games, right? So, what do I do for relaxation? I was about to say something. I forgot. I forget. I forget where I am. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I was about to say something. Say something crazy. Um, for relaxation, like I said, I like to veg out and watch the YouTube as well, or I watch people on here as well, right? Or watch a lot of anime or Netflix, or I have a torrent site on my Fire Stick where I can catch old stuff like Sopranos. Um, I work out every day. That relaxes me. So when I go run, when I'm running, I call that my moving meditation. That's what relaxes me because, when I go running without listening to music, it kind of helps me clear my mind. So that that's very relaxing. When I shadow box, and I just kind of get into the zone, that helps relaxes me. Um, my wife and I sometimes will watch a movie together. That's relaxing. Like it's usually like something I've already seen, and I'm showing her like some classic movies that I love, and she'll just go along with it and watch it with me. It's like John says, you look like you're in your 30s and like 38 at max. How old are you? Um, like 10 years older than that. I'm in my 40s, but I don't want to give out my exact age anymore because I had a moderator telling me I overshare information. So, and she was right. Um, Sideshow says Cadillacs and Dinosaurs had like four characters. There was this one Jack dude with an orange shirt, a green shirt, black guy named Mustafa, and a couple. Agnes says, "What about the beeper? I heard my mom talk about it. Did Did you ever have one?" Oh yeah, of course. I had to have one. The, this is why I. This is why nowadays I just. This is why most Generation Xers roll their eyes. Well, Generation Xers who don't have kids, I should say, because I think Generation Xers are the worst parents because they're the ones who gave birth to these to Gen Z. No insult to anyone here, but the fact that now these same parents are all the way are the ones who say they don't want their kids going to school without having a phone on them. Like we could even have a beeper back in the 90s. Like if we had a beeper back in the 90s, they assumed we were drug dealers. Like and like you could get suspended or whatever if your beep went off in class or at least you might have got detention or something. I remember mine went off once and it was unintentional. I think it was at the time it was my girlfriend in New Jersey and it went off and Deuce was like, "Yo, what you doing?" They was like, "Yo, put that on silent. You gonna get in trouble, man." I was just gassed up. I got a beat during school time. That was cool. But it's like nowadays, like they can have a whole freaking smartphone while in class. Although I'm starting to see some backlash to that. That some schools are starting to say, no, you can't have your phone on while in school. It's like they shouldn't even have to have. They shouldn't even have one in school. I'm sorry, I'm old school. Like my kid will not be having. Like my kid won't be having a phone. Like if there's if there's any reason why I would need to reach them for any reason, then I'm just going to buy them one of them little burner phones from Walmart, one of those little track phones. But you don't need a phone in school. I mean, if we couldn't have a pager, then they don't need a phone because that's why I don't understand these parents today. Like, well, what if I need to reach my kid? Then you can reach in the same way parents have been reaching their kids at school for the past 100 years. Like, you call the school, or you come up to the school. Like parents have been doing for the past 100 years. Like now they act like their kid needs a smartphone. No, they don't. You're just helping that kid. D- d- you're making sure that kid stays dumb. So again, no diss to anyone. But yeah, I definitely had a pager. But I didn't have a pager until I was 17. So I had no need for one before then. I wanted one when I was like 14, 15, but I didn't have any. I could, first of all, I didn't have money to pay for one. So my parents weren't getting me one. And two, um, again, there was that stigma about pages being for criminals and drug dealers. Because parents used to say, unless you're a lawyer or a doctor, you don't need to have a beeper on your hip. As says, my mom said she used her when she was in college. Yeah, I mean, when you're in college, why not? Um, Again, college is a whole different animal than high school. Funny thing is, when I went away to college, I didn't the next the next year when I graduated um, high school. I started college when I was 17. Like I didn't even have a pager anymore. At that time, I was trying to get a phone because one of my Dominican friends had a had a hookup for getting the phones with the. So do you might not remember this active, but some folks might remember this when they watch this on a replay. Um, so back in the day, you could get these phones, and there was these guys that would put the illegal hookup on it so that you could get free service on your phone until it died. But who knows? That free service might last a month, it might last a year. But if you had that little hookup, you could get a cell phone and get like free service. And like I said, you just pay a little, you know, money to the guy hooking you up, and they'll just give you that free service, and they'll last until it lasts. So I remember I briefly had a phone like that, or did I? No, I didn't. I didn't. So my first cell phone was the Sprint Spectrum piece, the Sprint PCS phone. That's what it was back in 1996 or 97. Mm, hmm. Yeah, I think yeah 97. And I kept it for like 2 weeks and returned it, so I didn't so I didn't incur a bill because my cousin was like, you don't really need that. It's going to be a waste of money. So I was like, I listened to her, and I was like, she was like, after I returned it, she was like, that was smart. So like I said, back then we didn't really need cell phones. We didn't really need pages. People only think they need them now. Now I will say you do need internet nowadays. Internet is like a u- internet nowadays is a vital utility. But how what the but by what measure you use to get onto the internet is up to you. Like you don't have to have a smartphone. I would say you have to have a computer of some sort, whether it's a PC, uh, a tablet, or a laptop. Like you do need internet. You need some device to access the internet, but doesn't have to be a smartphone. There's a lot of people I know who work in Intel in law enforcement or used to work in Intel and law enforcement. They won't use smartphones. They will only use like a little basic flip phone. And when they go online, they'll just go online on a computer. Like they don't like the security risk of carrying a smartphone on them, which can be used to track their movements because it has a built-in GPS, so you can track the whereabouts of someone with us through their smartphone. Especially as with the cellular towers, you can ping someone's location and all that good stuff. I guess, but she didn't like when she had to go by the phone booth at the side of the road was dangerous. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but without phone booths, how is Superman going to change into his tights? But that was the down that was the downside of pagers was then you had to go find a phone to return a call. But you forget this the sky um you didn't have to do those with the sky pagers. The sky pagers you could text through the pager to the person calling you. What do they call them? Sky pagers or whatever you call them. But those were like those were probably like close to being like the first like PDAs back then. Um, but this I think they were called Sky pages or Sky mobile pages or whatever. But with those, like when someone paged, you could text them back through the pager. So those I don't know anyone who had those though, because I know they were expensive. You guys remember? I remember. Same. But yeah, it's going an hour in, not too many questions. So if I'm not getting any other questions other than video games and stuff, I'll probably call it a night pretty soon. Um, if I'm coming, because I think I'm coming close to the point of diminishing returns. But then what often would happen usually when I would go live early is that I would think I'm coming to a point of diminishing returns, and all of a sudden, it would be a jump in people like around a certain hour. Like it's 9:13 now here where I'm at Eastern Standard Time, but some places like it would be like right around this time or maybe a little later, like around 10, and all of a sudden it would just jump and be a bunch of people. So I don't know if that would happen tonight, but I'm not going to wait an hour to find out. Too much. That would be an hour of dead air. That wouldn't make sense. I think I'm gonna make a pizza. Hmm. Yeah, but I don't know any other questions. Like I said, if people wanted to ask me relationship advice questions, well, it's only you two in the chat right now, so probably not. Did, what you mean? You mean see him physically? No. What do you mean? Has he been back on the channel? No, he hasn't been back on the channel since that that one time, that last time you and he were talking about connecting with your sister. That's the last time he's been on the live stream. He made a like after that live stream, he left a few comments on one of my YouTube on some of my YouTube shorts, but haven't heard from him. um, um, Moonlit was asking about him yesterday, and I was like, sometimes there's a lot of turnover with viewers on these live streams. Some people move on to other stuff that they're more interested in watching, um, or they just may not agree with maybe some of the content, so they move on. I've done that. Like if I no longer like someone's content, I would just stop watching that content, or even or I might even unsub. But that that's happened. Um, so it could be that, or he could just be busy. Because Moonlit was scared that maybe something would happen to him, and I don't really think so. I mean, New York is dangerous, but it's not dangerous like '90s dangerous. So, shoot, most of the time, the officers aren't even allowed to really do what they need to do anymore. So, but that's a whole different subject. But yeah, I haven't heard from him, so he hasn't appeared on the live streams or left any comments. And so that's the last time. What was that? Back in October or September? It she'll be graduating in April. Cool. Congratulations to her. But yeah, yeah, I haven't heard from him since the last time you heard from him. But I'm pretty sure he's probably doing all right. Um, I guess if there's nothing else, I'm probably gonna call it a night because I don't see anyone really. I mean, aside from you, which I don't mind speaking with you, but aside from you, I don't really see too much engagement. I should probably bring up some stuff I'm planning on doing. So, the wifey will be giving us some, hopefully some stuff for me to post about her trip and throughout Indochina. She did up. That was the thing I couldn't mention until I said I wasn't going to mention until she came back because again I believe in operational security. So I didn't say where she went, but I gave little clues on my community post by showing little pictures and videos of her doing stuff. But she did some backpack traveling throughout Indochina for almost 2 weeks. Um, so she said she's gonna um, put those videos together for me to post, and she was gonna come on live with me and talk about it. She was supposed to do so last weekend, but I messed that up because I went running late at night when it was afternoon for her. So she ended up just going to eat lunch. um, so, and by that time, it was already too late to go live for me for it to be beneficial. So I just told her we'll do it another time. So hopefully we can do that this weekend. I don't know when her videos will be ready, but whenever that's ready, I'm gonna post some video some video footage of her doing her backpack traveling through Indochina. I also have a video coming up showing my EDC weapons that I carry on me every day. Currently in the process of getting that edited, and it's taking a while because I'm making it a little higher quality than the usual stuff people see on my videos. Um, like I said, as I kept telling people, the more followers and subs I get, the higher quality you'll see. So, the, I think this will be a nice video. And I mean, most of you are well. I think you've seen some of my EDC weapons already, like the flashlight and the pen and pocket knife, all that sort of stuff. So it's basically like a whole video just talking about that. But I just jazzed it up a little bit so it looks more entertaining. That's all. And if that if that video does well, then I'm probably gonna do the same editing format to do my JKT shadow kickboxing routine, which I've been promising for like 2 years now. I'll do that, and I plan on interviewing some more people, doing some collaborations, and may have and maybe showing me outside of here. Not going to say where, but I might be somewhere else where I go live and do some show some footage of me actually traveling for once. So, um, but yeah, outside of that, I guess that's it. Like I said, unless there's no one in the chat right now, so so I guess that's it, Agatha. We're about the interview with the Indian lady. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding. Let me go after I get off. I'm actually gonna hit her up about that. I've completely forgot. Thank you, because she was gonna do it one day, and then I don't know what happened. Like, yeah, let me ask her if she's still interested. I completely forgot about my friend. Yeah, let me go hit her up on that. She's been busy lately, so like me, she does both content creation and she has a real job. So um, yeah, I'll go hit her up. Thanks for reminding me. Do that while I'm eating. But unless there's any other questions from anybody, people watching this on replay, you can ask me questions in the comment section. And if you feel like supporting me, you can sign up for a membership or send me a super thanks, or you can go to my links in the description and buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. Uh, and please just like and subscribe and share the video if you like, but definitely like and subscribe. I'm not gonna be like those people to be like, smash the like button. Like what? What's smash the like button? Like just hit the like button. You don't have to slap it or smash it. If you want, if that's how you roll with your device. Hey, I'm not here to judge, but but no, seriously, like if people enjoy, please like subscribe to the channel. It helps me a lot with the algorithm. Hit a like button and share it with folks. All right, but thanks. Talk to you later, Agatha, and thanks everyone else who's watching this. All right, take care.